What's up, grappling fans? Welcome back to another episode of the Grappling Bulletin podcast. Myself, Howell, Chase Smith, and Corey Stockton here once again to break down the biggest stories from the weekend of jiu-jitsu and grappling all over the world. So we had big events. We had the ADCC European, Middle Eastern, and African trials taking place in Poland. And at the same time, we had one of the biggest gi events of the year, the IBJJF Brazilian National Championships, aka the Brasileiros, taking place in Sao Paulo. Now, we had a team in Sao Paulo. Poderoso, aka Hollywood Mike, and Trey were on the ground. We were streaming all of the action from Poland, and there were some really interesting results from both of these events, right?
Yeah, what I love about both these events is that they have strong implications for their respective world championships. You know, trials, of course, feeds and qualifies these athletes for the ADCC Worlds in September, but then Brazilian Nationals is sort of a micro preview of what to expect at Worlds in just a month from now and the IBJJF circuit, because a lot of Brazilian athletes that may not have be able to visit the United States or abroad for tournaments, well, they're making a strong showing there, as well as athletes that needed points, let's say, to qualify for the World Championships. They had to compete. So if they're in the U.S., they had to go down or whatever. So both of these events, while very important in and of themselves, point towards something bigger.
All part of the big picture. And I think the best thing to do is to jump in and let's talk about some of the results out of the ADCC European trials. So you can see we have the subjects for today's show over on the left right here. We're going to kick it off talking about the European trials because ADCC 2022, this is the penultimate trials event. So this is the last opportunity for grapplers based in Middle East, Africa, and Europe to qualify for the ADCC trials. There's only one more trials event after this. It's taking place in Australia in a couple months. And that's going to be for Asia and Oceania. I always have trouble saying that. But anybody in Australia, New Zealand, or all of Asia can go there to qualify. So we were expecting to see some big names at the European trials. We knew that there were a number of Austin-based grapplers traveling over to compete. But of course, all eyes on the local talent. Who was going to emerge from the European scene as the winners? And I think the biggest name who broke through was that of Tommy Langaker. Because Tommy Langaker, the Viking, we know him very well here at FloGrappling. We've been following him since he was a colored belt. And he's a fantastic competitor, a very entertaining, very dynamic competitor.
Let's roll this clip too and then see some of the actions we talk about Tommy here.
But Tommy had only competed twice in no-gi tournaments in the last 4 years. And one of those occasions was a week ago. So, Corey, it was very unusual to see Tommy in a no-gi tournament because we weren't sure what to expect. But man, did he rise to the occasion.
Yeah, and really interesting to see his game and to see kind of how he oriented his no-gi game. Of course, very back attack oriented, as we expect from Tommy in any rule set, in any style of grappling. But a lot of submissions for Tommy. I believe he had 4 in 7 matches, and he looked phenomenal. His wrestling was particularly impressive.
So I'm wondering, has Tommy been secretly training no-gi all this time? He just hasn't been competing, because it's not like you could just do a couple weeks of no-gi training, come out and win the ADCC European trials, especially in the 77 kilogram division, because that's one of the most competitive of all.
100%. I imagine he has, right? I mean, I remember, I think it might have been during the early days of the pandemic when we were doing like podcasts every day, but we asked Tommy at some point about ADCC and if he had his eyes on it. Even a couple of years ago, he said yes, definitely wasn't a game plan, but just wasn't available at the time. And well, we can see he's certainly been putting in work. And his game, look at this little go-go clinch setup here. It's not so much different, as Corey pointed out, from what he does in the gi. Obviously, he doesn't have the same levers and handles, but he's hunting the back, he's shooting triangles, and but really, I was impressed overall with his wrestling, right? And counter wrestling, his headlock experience. He really is a well-rounded grappler, and it goes to show that you can make the transition the other direction. A lot of people say, it's tough right now to go from gi to no gi with all the leg entanglements and wrestling, but we've seen 2 cases of that recently, with Tommy and Marigali being the high-profile examples of late.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, and I think it is interesting to note what you said about his game and his techniques, because he had a very varied sort of attack game, right? He was going on the neck, he was going after the arms, going triangles, going rear naked choke. We didn't see him change his game considerably. He didn't come out and suddenly try to heel hook everybody. Tommy has got leg locks. He has a savage toe hold. We've seen him slam that on in the past. But he didn't come out and try to play a game that wasn't his. He came out and he just did his thing, which is very creative, very dynamic, always attacking jiu-jitsu, whether it's on top or bottom. And this is the final. Now, the final, this Polish guy, I am not even going to attempt to pronounce that last name, was one of the most dangerous guys in the bracket.
I think it's actually one of the easier Polish names. I'm going to say it's Szynski. That's what that looks like to me.
I'm just throwing it out there. I think that's a fine effort. I think you nailed it. Well done. So, Mr. Szynski has one of the most deadly straight ankle locks we've ever seen. Okay, he came out here, his trainer beat him here a little while ago, and he was notorious. It's like he popped everybody's ankles with this straight ankle lock that he has. And Tommy did not mess around, man. He came out, boom, heat-seeking missile, straight to the back, rear naked choke, and punches his finals to go and compete at ADCC Worlds. Corey, what do you make of that performance there?
Yeah, Tommy looked really just tuned in, right? Like when we talk a lot about guard players needing pressure from the bottom, but that's something that Tommy does extremely well. Is he moves forward, he draws people into traps, and then he's constantly attacking from the guard and leading himself into top control games.
Yeah, Tommy is one of the most aggressive guys out there. We like to joke that's his Viking blood, right? But I mean, he's
berserker.
Just the berserker. Yeah, but man, he's a great submission artist, and it's a very interesting addition to the 77 kilo division. We'll talk a little more about that later. But let's move on. Let's talk about the New Wave team, because New Wave qualified Luke Griffith and Dan Manasoyu into the heavier weight classes.
Did we want to hear from Tommy first? We do have an interview clip. I don't know if you want to save that. I'm looking at our runner show here, Hal.
Why not? Let's roll that. Thank you.
It's my first attempt, and it's my second no-gi tournament in 4 years. The first one was last week.
Okay, why did you compete in no-gi that often then?
Because I had my focus was on gi for so long. And now I want to, ADCC is growing so much that this special event I want to take a part of. I see it's a sold out event. I really want to at least give it a shot and then take it from there. And man, it fucking worked out. So I'm very happy, very happy.
Right.
And it means right now everything. I just want to be the best competitor I can be and try to do my absolute best in what I can, and right now it seems to be working out. I'm free of the gi a little bit. It feels nice.
Feels nice. I'm sure it does, especially when you're drinking those Polish beers immediately after winning gold. It's a good feeling. All right, let's talk about the New Wave team, because New Wave Jiu-Jitsu, Danaher's New Wave squad, based here, of course, in Austin, Texas. They sent a couple of members. Luke Griffith in the under 99 kilogram division, and also Dan Manasoyu in the over 99 kilogram division, and they took 2 gold medals. Now that puts a total of 7 New Wave representatives into the ADCC World Championships.
That's crazy. Let's watch this finish here from Luke, because it was really clean. Includes a great fireman's carry, though, from the beginning here.
Yeah, no, he handled this really well. So Owen Livesey, I want to say, British guy, a very accomplished judo black belt, and years of competing in judo. Well, it just shows the way he hoists Luke Griffith up. And Luke Griffith is a big man. You've ever stood next to him, the guy is towers over you. He's 6'3", and he's very, very big. But man, Luke just rode that perfectly. And when they hit the mat, it was pretty clear. It didn't take him long to get the submission. What do you make of this finish right here, Corey?
Yeah, this is something Luke does very well, right? We saw it on Who's Number One. He has kind of been taken down before and uses that to turn the tables in his tide to get the wrestle up back and put himself right into his favorite position, his back control position.
He called it his specialty position, right? I think it's his special. He obviously is a specialist at attacking from there, because the way he managed to finish his opponent there in the finals wasted no time. But that's an interesting addition into that division as well, because he's a South African and qualifies at under 99 kilos, and he's a blue belt. Now,
I thought he was, but that's purple.
Oh, he may be purple now.
Yeah.
But we've seen what happens when blue belts or purple belts enter into ADCC, right? Sometimes they can shock people.
There's something to be said for nothing to lose, right? Like everything to gain. He can go out there, just not have fun. Obviously, there's a ton of stress and anxiety and pressure, but
Nothing to lose.
no one expects anything from him except himself and his team. So he can just go out there and just go for it and shock the world. I think he clearly has the tools to do it, right? Went through a tough division, submission in the final, trains with one of the best teams on the planet. Yeah, he could very well do it. A lot of people are targeting him as kind of maybe the dark horse of the category, someone that could come out there and win that thing.
And that, though, is an interesting conundrum because with so many competitors, now New Wave have got multiple guys in the same divisions. At 77, they've got Gary Tonin and Oliver Taza. Under 99, Luke Griffith and Nicholas Marigali are in the same division. And then, of course, Big Dan and Gordon are in the over 99. So Luke and Marigali would have to meet in the second round. So I'll see how things shake out there and how that maybe impacts their training camp at all. But speaking of Big Dan Manasoy, let's take a look at his finish because he went up against the chunky heavyweight, Muslim Patsaragov. Now, this is another huge guy, and Big Dan makes him look small. That's how big Big Dan is. 6'7", over 270 pounds, just manhandled Patsaragov.
Yeah, I mean, you can see from this clip, it's a pretty one-sided bout after that takedown, right? And he just kind of grinds his way into Mao over the course of a few minutes there. You know, I cut this highlight, and he really takes his time, which is a sign of experience, right? He didn't rush it. He's in the final. Maybe you feel like, oh, this is my moment, and you try and force something, and then all of a sudden you're back trying to pass the guard again. Big Dan took his time, found the finish, and was elated to punch his ticket, as we say, to the World Championships at ADCC.
Nearly overcome with emotion, one might say.
Yeah, he was. And both because he and Luke took first place in their divisions, they nabbed the best team trophy, which I don't know if I've actually seen at trials before. I think it's a cool addition, though. I don't remember it being out there as much. Maybe I just missed it. It can be end of the day is hectic sometimes, but
yeah, I can't say I've noticed it either, but I think that is pretty cool. You know, having two guys from the same team winning in the finals like that, very cool. So there's just a couple of the big names there that qualified, and now they represent Norway, South Africa, and Romania. Big Dan is a dual national. He has both American and Romanian citizenship. That's why you would have seen him take silver at the recent ADCC West Coast trials in Las Vegas, but qualified as a Romanian. So we have 3 more countries represented there. Let's talk about the best of the rest from the European trials winners, because of course there were 7 spots available. There were, of course, the 5 men's weight division winners and then the 2 female divisions as well. And I think that I want to highlight the under 66 kilogram winner, Sam McNally from Dublin, Ireland. So Sam McNally, training out of East Coast Jiu-Jitsu with Darrow Connell and all those guys there. Submission machine. Play this clip because he was just picking up finishes left, right, and center. Corey, what did you make of Sam's performance?
Yeah, he looked really versatile everywhere, right? From his top game, his back control game, even down to his leg lock game, which really, if you watch his performance at the first trials, maybe no surprise. In the first trials, he nabbed 2 submissions before losing in his third round, and came back into this trials to win 6 matches with 5 submissions.
So he hit the quarterfinals at the last trials event there, and then came through and took gold this time. And it wasn't an easy run. Of course, he had the 66 is always a huge division, many matches, and but to tear through it like that, I mean, I have to think, you look at it, and the European trials winners, they always get seeded among the lower competitors in the division, but do you think that the ADCC organizers will analyze their performance and make a call based on that?
I mean, there's an argument to be made, but I think all the trials have just gone harder. So, it's the scale just moved maybe equally across all. But in any case, Sam McNally's performance on its own bears its unique argument, right? All the submissions that he took home there, really, really impressive to do that. Just nasty arm bars, but also has some leg locks here.
Well, it was interesting, actually, you mentioned that, arm bars and leg locks. Those were the only 2 methods of victory, I believe, that he had. That all his matches finished either by arm bar or leg lock. No chokes, no strangles, no nothing else, no kimuras, just straight up armbar or leg lock. I love it.
Yeah, really, really great stuff. And, he was at the European Championships too, right, Corey, in the gi for IBJJF? I feel like he did pretty well there. I know he's a European no-gi champion as well. So someone that's just been grinding his way through and, risen to the top now. So that's always a great story to see.
Yeah, he's a pretty prolific competitor and definitely very active on the European scene. Great to see these guys break through and to have a crack at the world stage as well. So he's going to be going to Las Vegas in September, as is Eleftheria. Help me out here.
This one you're on your own, sir.
All right, damn, you're pretty good at
Polish is okay, but when we start moving down to the Mediterranean, it gets a little messy for me.
Eleftheria Christodoulou, I want to say, won the over 60 kilogram division. So she becomes, by my records, the first ever Cypriot grappler to compete at the ADCC World Championships. A brown belt based in Cyprus, the Mediterranean island of Cyprus, and beat Annie Svensson of Sweden in the final. And I think one of the most interesting things actually about Eleftheria, and I didn't know this until I listened to her post-match interview, was about the fact that she's a member of the ZR team, and they have a really wide, worldwide presence. Obviously, based out of Brazil. They have a big presence here in the United States with guys like Gabriel Souza, Esteban Martinez, Diego Ramalho flying the flag for ZR team. But they've always had, historically, a very strong presence in Europe, specifically Eastern Europe. I'm talking Hungary, I'm talking Greece, I'm talking the Ukraine. And she actually had a message for her Ukrainian teammates. Play this clip, please, if you would, Tyler.
This medal is for my Ukrainian team and my Ukrainian friends because I know they're struggling right now, and I hope everything finishes and we keep on training together. So I just went for a camp there, and I decided that I want to stay to train with this team because they're really hard workers. Their work ethic is amazing. They work with kids a lot, and they're trying to build a whole army of, jiu-jitsu fighters. And I liked their vibe, and I decided to move there. And for 2 years I was there, and now for 1 year I'm back in Cyprus. And I hope when this war ends, I will go back for a camp to prepare for the ADCC.
Yeah, definitely a sentiment that we all share here at FloGrappling as well. Julia Meller became the second Norwegian to qualify for the ADCC out of this event, winning the under 60 kilogram division. And she beat the South African Peyton Letcher via decision in her final. And then a fellow Scandinavian. Now, this is interesting. And I know that you have Finnish ancestry.
That's
so
true.
This is something you
50%,
probably...
man.
There you go. You probably inspired by this. But Finnish grapplers have always had a really strong and rich history at the ADCC World Championships. There have always been many Finns have competed throughout the years at ADCC, and 2 had already qualified at the previous European trials. I want to say Perttu Tipponen and Heikki Jussila. And, of course, don't forget Elvira Karpinen, who was invited back as well in the under 60 kilogram division. And then we have now a 4th Finnish grappler competing as the under 88 kilogram division. Santeri Lilius qualified by beating Bruno Lima in the final.
Yeah, that was a scrap, and gave one of the best post-event interviews I think you heard. Was fired up. Santeri, another very, very active grappler on the European circuit, done well gi and no gi, so I know he was fired up. So let's hear from him to see what he had to say about this win.
It means quite a lot. To be fair, I did more gi before, but for like the last 2 years I've just done basically no gi aim for this. This is my first ever trials. I haven't done any trials before. I've only competed in ADCC rule set twice, and I won both times. So let's see what happens in Vegas. But yeah, it means a lot. It's a lot of work put into this, and I'm just so fucking happy for this.
Good for him, man. And also, as he mentioned as well, when he was asked what he was going to do after the, go out and celebrate or whatever, he's like, no, he's like, I got a little baby, I got to go home and I got to get some well-deserved sleep. So congratulations, Santeri. So we mentioned a little earlier about how the trials winners and Tommy Langaker specifically, how he fits into the under 77 kilogram division, because it is one of the most stacked divisions at the ADCC World Championships. Just, it is loaded from top to bottom. Corey, how about you kind of kick us off with a couple of names out of this division, because everybody knows about the returning champion JT Torres, but who else is going to be competing in the 77 kilogram division this year?
I mean, we could read this whole list. It's all big names, but let's start with returning champion JT Torres. Of course, there's Mica Galvao, Cade Rutolo, Gary Tonin, Davi Ramos, Lucas Lepre. We can keep going on.
No,
It's a
keep going. Read
stacked
them all
division.
out, because this is amazing. They
Okay.
get better and better.
Nicky Ryan, Renato Canuto, Lachlan Giles, Roberto Jimenez, and William Tackett, Oliver Taza as well.
Wow. Absolutely incredible. This is like a dream bracket. I don't think it could be any better. And so this is the kind of the topic of conversation right now. It's like, where does Tommy fit into this mix? Because we know that the European trials winners, they never get seeded super favorably. It's always going to be a tough second round. If they get out of that first round, obviously they just get deeper and deeper. But we anticipate that he'll probably get seeded, and he'll probably have to go up against maybe the number 2 or 3 seed in that division. And, well, I mean, that's kind of an interesting question as to exactly who that would be. Of course, returning champion JT Torres will be the number 1 seed. Could be Davi Ramos. Could be Lucas Lepre, could be Dante Leon. We just don't know. That's the truth. So we're not going to try and imagine what this bracket looks like. Just going to play around with some dream matches.
We'll probably do that later, but
Yeah.
today we're keeping it a little bit easier, a little more fun. And for me, when I think of like the match that I'd love to see, just completely crazy, I would have not never, but maybe 5 months ago, would not have assumed this is possible. JT Torres versus, Tommy Langaker. Let's pull up that graphic here just so folks at home can just imagine that,
Yeah.
get the picture of that.
The Viking up against the 2-time ADCC world champion?
Of course, and JT, pretty much flawless anywhere, can do it all. That's how he's secured 2 gold medals. But the idea of JT's top game challenging Tommy's guard, I mean, I think that's every jiu-jitsu fan's dream right there, seeing 2 athletes at their very, very best working their A game against each other.
That is style versus style right there. You got, like you say, you got the precision, pressure and grind of JT Torres, and then you've got that super flexible, just attacks out of anywhere, Tommy Langaker on bottom. It's a very intriguing kind of clash there between the 2 competitors. I like that match a lot. Corey, your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, it's a great match because you're talking about kind of a classic guard player versus just a pressure passer, right? And 2 guys that really have a ton of grit, a ton of pace, and yeah, something I'd love to see. Tommy, the newcomer, going up against the reigning 2-time champion.
Okay, so as is the title of today's show, this is the one that personally, I am most excited for, because now this is again a possibility. It's no longer a dream match. This could happen. You've got the ADCC South American Trials winner Mica Galvao and the ADCC European Trials winner Tommy Langaker. A collision course at the ADCC World Championships of September? We don't know, but I'd love to see it, because that right there, that is a fan favorite on both sides. Everybody loves Mica Galvao. Everybody loves the crazy all-out attack style of Tommy Langaker. What happens if those guys go head-to-head?
Yeah, this one's, for me, a lot less predictable than JT and Tommy as far as where we're going to see them play to their strengths.
Right.
Because Mica can be a bit of a counter fighter when he wants to be, and Tommy, I think, would prefer to play guard in most scenarios, at least to start. So I don't know where they kick things off at, right? And of course, that's what matters most sometimes. But yeah, I'm definitely curious to see how Tommy addresses Mica Galvao. Everyone wants to know, can anyone beat this kid, right? So far, it seems like not really. So
I mean, very few people have found the solution yet, right? And Mica Galvao just keeps getting better and better. But my vision for this match is just like a hurricane, a tornado of activity, and then somebody getting choked or armbarred brutally. It's one of those matches where they'll just meet in the middle. It'll just be like a flurry, and then one person gets their hand raised at the end. It's not going to be like a strategic, kind of feeling each other out. It's just going to be an all-out war. I love the idea of Mica Galvao versus Tommy Langaker. That is just so exciting. Corey, how about you queue up the next dream match? What would you like to see?
Yeah, Tommy versus somebody who, in my eyes, is as unpredictable as Mica Galvao, Cade Rutolo.
Unpredictable in a different way, though.
Absolutely. And again, another trials winner. So, I mean, it's insane to see that the trials winners here are creating a lot of these exciting matchups, but that speaks to the quality the trials have been this year. Cade, another top player against Tommy, who, again, mostly a guard specialist. But Cade can stay out of the range, dive for that Darce. That there are a lot of ways that he can bring a new element to Tommy's kind of tricky game.
Man, that is a very interesting conversation right there, isn't it? About the fact that the trials winners have come through so hard. It always used to be in the past. It always used to be like, the main guys would be invited or be returning, from hitting the podium the previous edition. And the trials winners would basically, make up the numbers. Sometimes 1 or 2 would have like a little bit of a breakout performance. It'd be like, good for him, But the trials winners have arrived in force this year. And I don't think you could afford to take any of those guys lightly. Let me just run off some of the names. Oliver Taza, Tommy Langaker, European trials winners. North American trials winners, Cade Rotolo and William Tackett. South American trials winners, Mica Galvao, Roberto Jimenez. And of course, a TBD, we've got an Asian trials winner coming through in a couple of weeks' time. But those are some powerful names right there.
Yeah, that definitely sparked something in my mind as well when Corey mentioned that. I feel like a lot of it, too, has to be with the recurring frequency these guys are competing right now. The trials winners, for the most part, super active. Where we have some of the guys with invites, such as Davi Ramos, Lucas Lepri, even Nicky Ryan due to injury, they have not been as active, right? They're going to go in potentially almost cold. I know Lucas Lepri's on like a seminar tour up until the end of August.
Hasn't competed since ADCC 2019.
So while he has all the experience in the world, one of the very best, skillful, a master of the game, he's coming up someone that potentially against someone that's going to be firing on all cylinders. And been, we know tempo's important, right? So
somebody with a lot of momentum and hot, coming in hot, right?
And of course, I mean, as a trials winner, you would love to take out a legend, right? And not only do you have trials winner next to your name, then you have someone that beat one of the most established champions ever. That's a dream for most, just about anybody in the sport. So
yes, it is. And
that's the case in all the categories as well. I mean, it's not like one set of trials winners in 77 is more exciting than 88 or 60. All the trials winners this year are really, really good.
Yeah, they really are. And I think that's why we wanted to focus on this topic right now. The trials winners at ADCC 2022. Yeah, it's fun coming up with some matches for these guys. It's fun imagining where they fall in the brackets. But the thing is that whoever is going to compete at ADCC 2022, whether you are returning from hitting the podium or whether you're invited, they've got to be studying those trials winners very, very closely, because these guys are coming in possibly hungrier than ever, knowing full well how significant a good performance at ADCC can be for their career. And they're going to be coming in hot, they're going to be coming in hard, and they're going to shake things up this year across all divisions, like Jay said. Love it. Absolutely love it. Super excited for the ADCC in September, unless you hadn't guessed, but even more so.
You may be new here if you didn't know that.
But even more so after watching the trials over the weekend. Tons of fun. So, from the action in Poland, now we're going to travel halfway across the world down to Sao Paulo, Brazil for our next topic in today's conversation, and that is the Brasileiros, the Brazilian National Championships. So, 3 big winners for me out of the Brasileiros this year. And they were Nicolas Marigali, Mica Galvao, and Mason Fowler. So, of course, not the only winners, but definitely the ones who stood out the most to us. So, let's start off and just talk a little about Nicolas Marigali, and we can play this clip while we're doing it, because Marigali has been on a no-gi kick for some months now. And he comes out and he submits all his opponents to win the super heavyweight division, including this beautiful sequence against Felipe Andrew in the final. That is just classic Meregali right there.
Right. And I mean, he opened this sequence up with the Uchimata, with the throw. Something that he never, ever did prior to spending time in the States with Danaher and the guys getting ready in no-gi.
Yeah, there's another look at it, man. That was something beautiful right there.
It was great timing. You know, it looked simple because he really just has mastered the technique and mastered the timing. That's how it looks easy, but it's not, especially against someone as good as Felipe Andrew. But to me, it's exciting to see Meregali evolving in all aspects of his game. Not only is he picking up no-gi and becoming quite good at that, he's changing the way he thinks about the gi. So going into the World Championships, that adds a lot of interest for me.
That's only the second time I've ever seen Meregali hit a takedown in his career.
I mean, he never wrestled or wrestled up in the gi.
Ever. He would occasionally like go for collar drags, kind of a takedown, I guess. We saw him hit double leg. Who's number one? Just a couple of weeks ago, and that was of course in no-gi. And then all of a sudden, he knows judo. Like, where did that come from? No clue. But Meregali looked absolutely phenomenal. Let's talk about Mica Galvao, the middleweight champion. Now, Corey, this was Mica Galvao's first shot at a Brazilian national championships as a black belt. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it is, especially given the kind of the momentum Mica Galvao has had. It's shocking to remember that he's already a black belt. He's only just a black belt, rather.
Rookie season.
Yeah, and not looking like a rookie, right? I mean, he not only did he win, he submitted everybody in his division and just looked pristine, looked untouchable.
I really like this sequence here as well because he hits that lumberjack sweep from inside the closed guard. And I've heard people call it various things. We know it. I know it as the lumberjack sweep. I refuse to accept that as the waiter sweep. That is not the waiter sweep. Waiter sweep is something completely different. That is the lumberjack sweep right there. But Servio Tullio, very, very tough opponent in the final. And Mica, man, just shut him down. As soon as he got to the mount, it was just a couple of moments later, he had that arm stretched out for the finish. And Mica Galvao, deadly as ever, and once again finishes all his matches via submission. Technically, one of them was by DQ because he had a locked-on submission and his opponent fled. His opponent fled the area and got DQ'd, but it would have got tapped out if he hadn't. So we've got a submission highlight actually of Mica Galvao, all his submission wins from the Brasileiros on the side. You can check that out. But Mica Galvao, a major win at black belt, his first IBJJF major tournament win. That puts him in an interesting position to go to Worlds. We could talk about that in just a minute. But
well, at least he gets to go now. Before he needed the points. You know, it's crazy to think that someone like Mica would need anything to compete at Worlds, but you know, you got to get those ranking points to get your ability to enter. So now he has them.
A really interesting thing actually, and is that Mica, the last time he competed at Brasileiros 3 years ago, he was still a blue belt. Amazing. Mason Fowler, man. Only the third American black belt male to ever win the Brazilian national championships. Mason Fowler goes out there and submits again everybody in the ultra heavyweight division to claim the gold medal, including this win over the giant Pedro Alex, aka Bonbon, in the final. Nice little abuse of the half guard, straight onto the rear naked choke, chokes out Bonbon, and jumps up, and we don't have any audio on this clip, but I thought it was really cool. You can see it. It's on our Instagram. He screams, "I love Brazil." And if I was Mason, and if I just won a gold medal in that fashion as well, I'd be feeling pretty good too. Man, that's no joke. Only the third black belt American male to go to Brasileiros and to take gold.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to Mason. That's incredible. And when you look at that clip on our Instagram, you can also hear the crowd was very receptive, right?
Oh, they were into it.
They loved it. They said he put on a great show. You could hear him cheering for him. Put some respect on Mason Fowler's name. Trials winner, going to ADCC.
Right.
Just won Brazilian Nationals as a black belt. The man is on the come up.
He really is. And he actually tapped out Gutenberg Pereira in the opening round of the ultra heavyweight division. Gutenberg, of course, went on to win the absolute division. And Mason took him out as well by submission in weight class. Very, very powerful performance from Mason Fowler. Congratulations to add his name to a very short list of very accomplished grapplers right there. Let's talk about some of the other standouts, shall we? Because Fight Sports Manaus, they sent a squad. They had Brenda Larissa take gold in women's divisions. They also had Diogo Hayes and Fabricio Andre take gold in the men's black belt divisions. Of course, Mica Galvao as well. But Diogo Hayes won light featherweight. Fabricio Andre won the featherweight. Diogo Hayes had to take out Kleber Souza, super tough guy. And then Fabricio Andre got a points win over Kennedy Maciel in the final. And Fabricio, of course, world champion in December last year. Gold here at the Brasileiros. You have to think favorite going into Worlds.
Absolutely. We'll maybe talk about that a little more in depth. But we did do a early look featherweight preview last week, seeing some of the big names. He was already registered.
What a division.
We posted that today, and on our Instagram, he commented feather or maybe light feather.
Oh.
So who knows? He hasn't changed it. I already looked. He's still technically registered as feather, but this does happen at Worlds where guys will maybe drop down one more weight class than usual, trying to get every edge possible, securing that title. Maybe he's playing mind games. I don't know. But yeah, he looked phenomenal, Brasileiros.
Very interesting. Yeah, I like all these little games and stuff they play. It's all this little misdirection and kind of like messing with their opponent's heads.
Worlds has already started. We're always there, you know.
4 weeks away, and they're playing all these games. A quick shout out as well to some of the female black belt champions, Maisa Bastos, Natalie Ribeiro, and Gabi Pisania, because all of them took gold at the Brazilian Nationals over the weekend, and that, for all three of them, follows gold medals at the European Championships at the start of this year, the Pan Championships just last month, and now that puts them all in a position where they could potentially compete the IBJJF Grand Slam, which is gold medals at each of the 4 major tournaments, namely Euros, Pans, Brazilian Nationals, and the World Championships. What do you make of that one, Corey? There's 3 people in the running going into the Worlds. Do you think we could have 3 people do that this year?
Given those names, I absolutely do. We're looking at 2 reigning world champions, Maisa Bastos and Gabi Pisania. Natalie Ribeiro, who's having a career year. Gabi Pisania, by the way, could become the first ever black belt to complete a double Grand Slam. And just looking about this and thinking of this, Maisa Bastos could become one of 2 people ever to hit a super Grand Slam.
Oh, because she's going to go to ADCC as
Right.
well. Wow, that would be very interesting indeed. Oof. A lot of big news out of Brasileiros this weekend. Quick shout out to Gutenberg Pereira, of course, as we said, did the absolute gold medal as well. That's always a very significant achievement. And I just want to go back a little bit to talk about Marigali and Mica Galvao, because we have interviews with both of these guys. Now, Marigali, the performance was vintage. It was him going out there and he was tapping out all his opponents. But it was a very different Marigali. Like his demeanor, his character on the day. You know, if you ever seen Marigali at these events, he is just like super fired up. He's got like a face all twisted and contorted. He's like hyper focused, just super aggressive, just like overly hyped. This time, apparently he's walking around laughing and joking, taking photos with fans in a much better mood, and even less provocative in his post-match celebrations as well. But you listen to this interview and tell me you don't hear a difference in the man's voice.
Performance was like incredible, so I cannot ask anything more, so I'm feeling perfect. Since February, I started my no-gi camp in February, and we fought who's number 1 just with 2 months of no-gi training, and I made 10 days of gi training to that championship, and then of course we had 1 month until World Championship, IBGF, but I'm feeling great. Only 10 days training the gi made me remember who I am, and also I got some improvements by training no-gi, you know, so I got some adjustments in my game, and I was able to prove today, so which level I'm playing again, you know. Yeah, man, I really want the title. I know I can win the absolute again. The last year I knew I would be the champion. They punished me, they disqualified me, and we're gonna do this story again. I know that I have a different kind of jiu-jitsu, I have a different mindset, I have different posture fighting, and even if people try to push me down, I know that I will find a way to overcome and show who I am to the world. 20 days here, more 10 days with Danaher, and let's see what's gonna happen in the World Championship. Pretty excited, very proud for the work today, and life's great. Let's enjoy it.
Life is great. Life is great when you have a Brasileiros gold medal hanging around your neck.
Tough to argue with that, yeah.
But I in the absolute as well. That's big considering what happened to the last one. So I think just the composure of the man. He seems so calm. He seems so level-headed.
I mean, he accomplished his goal, right? He went down there. Marigal has always been very upfront about what he's hoping to do. I want to be the champion, nothing less. I want all submissions, nothing less, that kind of thing. So there must be an immense satisfaction. But it was hearing from our guys down on the ground that Marigali's attitude was different. That really kind of blew me away, right? Because watching him on the mats, yes, the new Marigali, but it's also the Marigali everybody knows and loves. Super aggressive, just going for the kill.
Decapitating people.
Just going for the finish at all costs, which is why he's so fun to watch as a competitor. But knowing that he's also not really worried about, how the crowd's reacting to him, any kind of side beefs he has going on, they're not affecting him. That was a big part of the story, not just at the last Worlds, but basically all of the Black Belt World Championships Marigal has competed at. So maybe he's found a new center, a new place to calm. Danaher may be a great stabilizing voice in his life, or maybe he's just kind of grown up a little bit, right? A lot's happened. So knowing that he's found this center point where he can really take on all challenges and not really be threatened by that at an emotional level, that's got to be kind of scary if you're one of his competitors.
Yeah, he's putting those guys on notice. We saw what he did at the World Championships last December. And if this is an elevated version of Nicholas Marigali, then I think those guys had better be bringing their A games to the Worlds, because he's got one goal. And that's the absolute gold medal. So let's see what happens there. Let's talk about Mica Galvao at the World Championships as well, because Mica Galvao has just risen from strength to strength. But before we get into it too much, let's hear what he had to say after the Brazilian Nationals.
I feel awesome. Just something that I've been dreaming of, because the last time I went to Brazilian National was as a blue belt, and now here I'm back as a black belt in 2022, 3 years later, and I could achieve it. I could get the title, and I'm just so happy to be exactly on Mother's Day with my mom watching it. So yeah, the feeling is very good. Yeah, all submissions. I think my 3 matches that I had today was like the toughest guys I saw in the bracket. I knew that I was going to get them, and I kind of had my strategy for each. We got on total, I think, 6 people, and we got 4 gold medals. So I think the result was pretty good, and I just can't wait to go to Worlds and do I think the same. It's something I've been dreaming since I was like a little kid. Like the moment I stepped into a mat and I learned what was real jiu-jitsu, I was like, okay, I gotta win this. And now the day has come. I think that just a few weeks from Worlds, the hype's just coming more and more. Yeah, I'm gonna think about it with my dad, because I think I can do lightweight. There are some matches I think I still need to do on my division and on my history. I think that I got some bad situations on my career, and I think I need to look back for it. And yeah, probably I'm gonna see, but medium weight and lightweight's gonna be something about it.
Mica Galvao looked absolutely untouchable at the Brazilian National Championships, and he's looked pretty untouchable, gi and no gi. But the World Championships is definitely a different animal. This is a tournament. It's the toughest gi tournament in the world. There's no tournament more difficult, and to win the World Championships is no guarantee. Regardless of your success throughout the season, it's always going to be a challenge. You can be having the best season of your life, and you go to the World Championships and it can all crumble because people are just coming so hard to take that gold medal. It's the most competitive gi tournament in the world. But Mica Galvao, there is no doubt in my mind that he is among the front runners for a gold medal. But now the big question is, after that interview, which weight division he's going to go.
You're right. That was very coy. Very coy of Mica to say, maybe lightweight's the move, because he's been competing on the IBJJF circuit exclusively as a middleweight.
Right.
But definitely undersized, and when it comes to ADCC, competing at 77, well, that places him as a lightweight.
Yeah, so 77 is like 170 pounds, thereabouts. And Corey, the lightweight IBJJF with the gi is 160?
167, I believe.
Okay, so gi says about 4 pounds. He'd have to cut a little bit more weight to get down to that. Not going to be easy, same day weigh-in, but Mica is special. right? Mica is special. And we saw that. He competed at BJJ Stars, the middleweight, aka middleweight Grand Prix, which was mostly medium heavyweights. He won that. He tore through Brasileiros, winning the middleweight division. And now he's put it out there that he could go down to lightweight. Well, the big name at lightweight is not necessarily the returning world champions, Matheus Gabriel, or his teammate Renato Canuto. Those guys, they closed out last year. But for me, there's one name that stands out at lightweight, and that is the Art of Jiu-Jitsu black belt, Jonathan Alves, because him and Mica have history.
That's right. Way back when Mica was still a brown belt, I want to say, they fought at EUG. So everyone remembers the Tynan-Mica match where Tynan was already a rookie black belt 6 months in or 7 months in, whatever it was, and Mica edged out a win. It was very close, but he won.
Yeah, he did. Now,
the only win.
So we've been so focused on the prospect of a potential showdown with Tynan Dalper at middleweight. I hadn't even thought about a match with Jonathan Alves. It just, for me, the possibility didn't even exist. I'm like, Mika's going to go middleweight. He's going to hit Tynan. They're going to duke it out, possibly in an early round because of the seeds and the way that the points work. And it's going to be mind-blowing. Now we've got this potential matchup with somebody like Jonathan Alves or any of the other top lightweights in that division. And think about some of the people who competed at lightweight at the last World. Levi Jones-Leary, Matheus Gabriel, Renato Canuto, and Jonathan Alves. All of a sudden, my mind is blown. The prospect of all these matches. Corey, seriously, we didn't think that this was even a possibility.
Yeah, and now it's a real possibility given the fact that if Mica drops down to lightweight, he got enough points to make it to Worlds, but he's not sitting on just like a mountain of points the same way guys like Jonathan Alves and other reigning champions and other high-performing guys in that division are. So we can not just see these matches in the lightweight division. We can see them early on.
We could see them early on, and that could shake things up. Who knows what the podium would look like if that was the case.
Well, let's not forget, too, and this is also a major component to the lightweight category, Tai Ruotolo is in the mix. Tai Ruotolo has slid in for his first black belt major, or I think tournament of any kind, and the only reason he can qualify is because he won Worlds as a brown belt.
That's right. So
Cade can't do it, for example.
No, you won't see Cade compete at Worlds. That is just not possible because he hasn't got any points, and you need participation points from competing in opens and such to be able to go to Worlds. Not just anybody can sign up. You got to work your way into the event at black belt. But a brown belt world champion basically gets free pass, right? You just pay your entry fee. You don't need those ranking points. So they met in the final. Of course, Tai took the win, and that puts him in line to compete in his first gi event as a black belt.
And he's already signed up, right? So we're speculating that Jonathan Alves will do lightweight. It's where he's been his whole career, and unless there's some kind of catastrophic injury, we should see him there. He wants to do Worlds. But right now, Tai Ruotolo is on the list. He is signed up. Mica, of course, as we just said, hasn't signed up yet. We're not sure where he's going to land.
There aren't that many names on the list. I'm just kind of poking my nose into your computer there. There's only 9 guys signed up right now. That's going to change because a lot of guys out of this weekend will be signing up because they suddenly got the points to do so.
Right.
But Tai's on that list, and that's a very, very notable name indeed.
So lightweight has always looked pretty entertaining, but now a couple of curveballs on our way with Tai because we didn't know if Tai was going to sign up. And I'm very happy that he has one of the most exciting athletes.
So wait, hang on.
Today.
You're telling me we could see Mica versus Jonathan, Tai versus Renato Canuto, Matheus Gabriel versus Levi Jones-Leary, or any further combination of those matches?
That's right.
Sign me up.
Yeah, lightweight's looking very spicy, and definitely stay tuned as we get confirmation of when these athletes will sign up and land in this division or not. We'll let you know what happens there, but lightweight is now suddenly at the top of my list of must-watch.
Yeah, for real. So let's go back to Meregali then for a minute, because Meregali, after that performance at the Brazilian Nationals, now he didn't do the absolute this time. He only competed in the super heavyweight division. Looked untouchable, tapped out Felipe Andrew in the final. That's just what we expect from Meregali now. Go out there, do the thing. Now, considering his performance at the World Championships in December, where he was denied an opportunity to compete for the gold medal in the absolute final because he was disqualified in the semi-final of the ultra heavyweight division, retroactively disqualified for unsportsmanlike behavior, and was thrown out of the tournament. So he went home with no medals, nothing from the ultra heavyweight, and even though he was classified to compete against Felipe Pena in the final of the absolute, wasn't allowed to, and Felipe took the default gold. So this new and improved Mr. Correct Marigali,
Mr. Polite.
Mr. Polite,
Yes.
keeping his fingers to himself. This guy,
Whoa.
this guy is probably the favorite for double gold. But of course, it's still a competitive division. So Corey, who are your kind of like your big names that you could see going up against Nicholas Marigali in the absolute? Because he said there in that interview, he's like, he wants that absolute gold medal. He's already a 2-time IBJJF world champion. He'll tell you he's a 4-time because he feels like he won those 2 divisions. But if he goes to Worlds, let's just forget his weight class for a moment. But the absolute division, who do you think that he would possibly face off against?
I think the number one match I want to see, there's definitely some unfinished business with Victor Hugo, right? He beat Victor Hugo. It was a close match at Worlds. But Victor ended up with the medal because Marigali was DQ'd. I think Marigali should want his shot at kind of earning that medal back the right way. And Victor for sure wants to earn that medal the right way as well.
Oh yeah, Victor's got to be highly motivated, right? Because
he didn't want to get a win over Marigali via DQ. No, he wants to earn it, right?
Yeah, exactly. There are a lot of people out there that are not taking his medal seriously, which I think is unfair to Victor Hugo. He didn't make the call.
Hell no.
But he wants to go out there and make a point, which does make that interesting. They very well could be in the same weight class as well. So we could see that match twice, or
Marigali goes up to Ultra again, like he did last time.
That's true. It's true. So who knows? But I like that matchup for me and the absolute. Also, the return in general, Herber Santos. Right now, Herber Santos. I know he's got a checkered, let's call it, competition record. Right.
The wildest of wild cards.
You never know what he's gonna do, but when he's on, he is one of the best.
Yeah.
Make no mistake. And he's back at Atos. He's been there for a few months now. The same camp where he won a world championship.
Good point.
Maybe he's got a good anchor there and is able to sort of sort through those issues that led to some very strange, let's call them, competition appearances.
It was a rough couple of years. I think after he left Atos, he found himself kind of trying to find his own way, and it just didn't work out. The results were not as they should have been. But you're right, that when he was at Atos and he was training under the watchful eye of Andre Galvao and those guys, he had the best results of his entire career. So he's back there now after some 4 or 5 years. And you do have to wonder which Herber Santos is going to turn up to Worlds, because when he's on, oh my God, he is terrifying. And they've never fought as black belts, Marigali and Herber Santos.
They fought at Spider.
Oh, they did.
They did fight at Spider
right.
2019.
Thank you for a reminder.
And that was one where Herber got upset and basically quit in the middle of the match during that whole period. So
Indeed.
And that's when there was $100,000 on the line. But
Ouch.
hey, sometimes you get really mad. I guess I don't know.
I guess. Let's talk about the absolute division as well, because of course the Victor Hugo match, the Worlds that everybody is so focused on. Let's not forget that Victor Hugo has a win over Nicholas Marigali. The very first ever Who's Number One. It was the main event of Who's Number One. The very first, in the gi. Nicholas Marigali,
he looked great.
Was unsuccessful that time. Victor Hugo took the win. So it's always a close match between those two. It was a close match at Worlds. It was a close match at Who's Number One. If they face off again in June, well, anything could happen. So speaking of the World Championships, our final topic of discussion for today is, of course, the fact that the IBJJF World Championships is right around the corner. This is the countdown now. This is the last couple of weeks as we go into this event. So a quick mention to the events that took place over the weekend. There were the IBJJF Opens in San Diego and Atlanta. And, of course, the Brasileiros and ADCC trials kind of overshadowed everything because, those are the two big events. But Those two events offered grapplers the opportunity to get the necessary points to both qualify for Worlds and also to improve their position in the rankings. Just a couple of quick results to stand out from there. In Atlanta, you had Roosevelt Souza of Fight Sports took double gold, winning the ultra heavyweight and the absolute division. And really intriguing for me was the fact that Levi Jones-Leary took double silver. He took silver in the middleweight and the absolute division, losing to Souza in the final. Who was it who beat Levi in the weight division? Robinho, of Alexandre de Jesus of Fight Sports, right there in the middleweight division. So, very interesting results coming out of Atlanta. But San Diego was also, there was some big action going on there. Urba Santos returned, took gold in the ultra heavyweight division. Adam Wodzinski took double gold, took the heavyweight division and the absolute. And Jonathan Alves winning in the, well, it's always really stacked, right? Lightweight's always one of the biggest brackets, but Jonathan Alves looking in good form going into Worlds.
That's right. Taliesin Soares also, I believe, took home gold representing AOJ. And then Kolabate, too, took home gold in his category.
Good weekend for the AOJ crew. So that means that things are in full swing for the World Championships. And what happens as we get closer to the World Championships?
Oh, you know what it is.
It's Road to Worlds. Road to Worlds is back, and this is one of it's one of your favorite times of the year specifically, right?
Oh yeah, I think the whole team loves it, right? Who doesn't like going to these camps? It's already begun. We already have one episode out of the vlog series. We went over to New Wave, caught Marigali's not first, but in the middle of his training camp for Brasileiros, right?
Want to play this?
Let's show a clip here because we
take a look,
have a special guest in the gi, I guess.
Oh.
Fresh gi for this session?
Yeah, I'm trying a new model. Maybe the fight. I need to fight the Brasileiros. Let's see.
The actual reason you're trying to look good for us?
I'm always looking good.
From the back here, how am I pulling it? It's pulling my pants forward.
I would rather set the pants on fire and order a new one rather than re-throwing the whole drawstring.
What I used to do is tie them before I throw them in the washer, because sometimes that happens. It'll work its way out.
I could just put shorts on and just straight no-gi, but no World's coming up.
John was teaching me at Henzo's, like the way that he always teaches you, which is like super slow, and he forces you to work on the things that you're worst at first, like dealing with lasso guards and stuff like that. But then when we got here, he just showed me like how to actually pass guard in the gi, and now I'm just passing everybody's guard and like forcing half guard, and it's just so much easier because I have like belt grips for sumigeshis, and I force guys into half guard, and I can like grab the gi. So it's pretty enjoyable now, to be honest. I like training in the gi.
Gripping power of 10 men.
What did you think about the training session, Chase?
Dude, Gordon Ryan in the gi, Nicholas Marigali in action, a lot of fun out there. A lot of fun. Gordon looks incredible in the gi. You know, no surprise. I feel like some people want to believe he wouldn't be in the gi. They prefer that, but that's really not reality. Nicholas looked great. Poderoso Mike in the mix as well, Mike. All day long, going hard in the round. So it was fun.
We're gonna be going all over the place by then. Where's somewhere you're excited to check out, Chase?
Oh, you know the tour, man. So we're going big this year. We'll be on the East Coast, hitting up some gyms out there. I'll be in California. You guys are gonna be in Brazil. Cannot wait. It's my favorite thing of the year, and we're back, baby. Let's do it.
Yeah, super exciting. Make sure you guys stay tuned on FloGrappling.com. Check it all out for yourself.
Okay, first of all, go ahead and hit up my guy, OG Trey Robinson, I believe, on Instagram. Tell him he's got to do something about that haircut. just do it for me. I got to work with him. I got to look at that every single day.
I think you should grow your hair out like that. That would be something else.
Never. I will never do that. So, anyways.
So, what was it like to be in that room? You were there. You were at the Roca gym. You were present for that training session. Gordon in the gi. And he seems to be enjoying it.
He does. And, you know, it's definitely going back and looking at the vlog as well as the training clips we have of Gordon. Because while, yes, you see a lot of what he does in no-gi present, there's also plenty of action of him doing, Toriando passing and De La Hiva stuff. So it's collar sleeve from Marigali. So he's definitely been exploring the game. I think it's been a breath of fresh air for those guys to have Marigali in the mix and just changing up their training a little bit. And the same could be said for Marigali going and doing some no-gi. It's resulted, of course, in his Brasileiros performance. So really cool to see them training and how Marigali led the session. It was very much, though, in the style of Danaher. Danaher was on the East Coast filming, I think, with Fanatics. He wasn't there at the session, but Marigali led some drilling and led the rounds. And it resembled what you would see in their normal training, just with the gi on.
Right.
Positional sparring, some technique, and then some free rounds. So it was cool. Great vibe. And of course, from what I saw there, I wasn't shocked at what we eventually saw Marigali do at Brazilian Nationals. He'll be back as well. So I think we're going to hit that gym, hopefully, one more time, get kind of the final polishing.
A little closer to the World Championships?
A little closer to the World Championships, see those final adjustments. It'd also be great to see maybe John and Nicholas working on stuff, because to me, that's very interesting, right? Because we've seen, of course, the outflow of knowledge from John influencing Marigali's no-gi game, but I want to see the exchange maybe take place of Marigali showing off some of his gi stuff to John, and then workshopping that together. That'd be pretty cool.
That is an interesting prospect.
Marigali, I don't know, in a dream world it would happen. Who knows?
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure it does. That Marigali right now is in Brazil. He went down there to compete in Brazilian Nationals. He's going to stay down there for a little while. He's training at Dream Art, and we actually have some training rounds from last week from inside Dream Art as well. That is also part of the greater Road to Worlds kind of tour. There's going to be videos coming out of Dream Art in Sao Paulo, from Fight Sports in Manaus with Mica, Galvao and those guys. Poderoso Mike and Trey are killing it right now, traveling in Brazil and all over the place and bringing this amazing content. So this will just get things going for the World Championships. And as Chase mentioned, we're going to be all over the place. We're going to be going to different parts of the United States and hitting these big gyms and getting the big names as well. And for me, one of my favorite things, and always has been, even prior to Road to Worlds, one of my favorite things is seeing these guys training. Because for me, competition is a very limited view of somebody's jiu-jitsu.
Sure.
Because you have to be so focused on the task at hand. The objective, of course, is to take the gold medal, it's to win, and they don't always show their full game. I often find that a competitor or a grappler's natural habitat is in the gym. It's where they're at their most relaxed. Of course, it's their workplace. They also have a job to do, but at the same time, you'll see them doing things that they wouldn't necessarily do in competition. You get to see them developing and real-time kind of working on new things and adding it to their game, and that trial and error process. And you'll often see really cool small moments, and usually like you said, that exchange there between training partners or coach and student as they're kind of workshopping techniques and stuff. For me, there's nothing better about being inside, up close and personal with that kind of action. That's what Road to Worlds is about.
Yeah,
we're offering people a window into that world.
Well, you see the work they put in. The difference between professional jiu-jitsu athletes and just very good hobbyists really is spending time drilling those positional sparring rounds or techniques over and over. It is work. And the jiu-jitsu for most of us is fun, where you drill and it's worthwhile to learn the technique, but these guys are in there for 2 hours drilling.
They're taking it very seriously.
Very specific scenarios, and that's really the difference maker most of the time in the matches. So getting an appreciation for that is what we try and present to you in the Road to Worlds, where it's like, this is not only the coolest cutting edge technique and strategies, but like, look how hard these guys are pursuing this goal. So,
Corey, you were on the last Road to Worlds tour in December of 2021. You were able to go and visit a number of those big academies in Southern California. You're going to be back on the road again leading up to this World Championships. What do you like most about the Road to Worlds experience?
Yeah, I think it's exactly that. It's watching these guys in real time, not just do everything perfectly on the first rep, but workshopping the things that they're, sometimes you go on to see them use these techniques at Worlds effectively, but you get to see, 2-3 weeks earlier, them testing and playing with this thing that'll eventually make them a world champion or eventually put them on the podium, or trying and failing at the things that are going to get them there.
You get that little preview into the kind of the work taking place, and you get to see the sort of the results actually in the competition. That is really cool. Man, can't wait. Road to Worlds is always one of the most exciting times, and we've already started releasing those videos. There's going to be more coming out between now and the World Championships, and I think that is a perfect place to end today's show.
Sounds good to me.
Well, guys, thank you once again for joining us. Lots more events coming up on FloGrappling very soon over the next couple of weeks. We've got lots and lots of big events taking place here. We have everything from Fight to Win. We've got Finishers Only Survivor Series. We've got the World Championships. We've got a ton of others. And, of course, the ADCC trials coming up on June 18th. Plus, the big ones taking place later this year. You can see it all here on FloGrappling. And catch you at the next one.